You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to the 249th episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. This is Tim in Orlando, Florida.
And this is Spencer in Boston, Massachusetts. Tim, it's a big week.
It's a big week. And we recorded last week, the morning of the reveal of the new Ineos kit. Because remember, we were disappointed on just the font level of the other.
That was all the disappointment we were allowed to have at that time. But I have an expectation that maybe our disappointment level has grown since then.
I think that's a fair assumption. Now, we have not had a chance, you and I, to debrief on this.
No, we haven't.
Okay.
I am eagerly awaiting your thoughts on this kit.
Okay, on a scale, so let's do this. At the same time, we'll do like a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being, I don't know. What's the greatest kit of all time?
Mappe.
AG2. Okay. Mappe. All right. And then the 0 being, I mean, what would be the worst kit of all time?
Well, that would
Foot
be
on?
probably, yeah.
The foot on kit?
Yeah,
Like
that's true. Yeah.
Like there's ironic love, but then there's the foot on kit. For those that don't remember the foot on kit, it lasted one season. It was this really weird gold/natural tone, like white skin tone color, I guess.
It was unfortunate.
Yeah.
I was trying to debate between which year of Astana I was going to say, but you pulled out the futon, so.
Okay. So just look it up, foot on, if you want. It's got a giant footprint on it. Okay. So that's a 1, 10 being Mappe, sorry. And at the same time, we're gonna count down like 1, 2, 3, and then we're both gonna give the score of the new Ineos kit at the same time.
Okay, rock paper scissors style.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
I honestly don't know what number I'm gonna throw out yet, so this will be interesting.
1, 2, 3, 5. It's
interesting. Okay.
So let me tell you why it's a little bit higher. Why I put it middle of the road.
Okay.
And why it's
I'm curious.
I can tell you why it's not higher. So the reason it's not higher is because the gradient.
Yeah, you're down on the gradient.
The gradient is horrible.
Which is a huge trend this year.
Yeah, the gradient on this one is just it's
you
horrible.
Are
not a
you're
fan.
going against the gradient, Tim.
Yes, I am. There's only one team that does the gradient right this year, in my opinion, and this is a continuation of last year, and that's Movistar, because I think it runs it a little bit better on the bottom, and the Movistar gradient is into a navy blue. Which
I disagree so hard on that, but I'll let you have your moment here. Sorry.
Okay. This gradient barely gets to mid chest level. Like it's red and then it's like almost black immediately.
Yeah.
Here's why it's a little bit higher on my scale.
Okay.
It's because it is the color red. It's like it's just enough of that, as many were saying on Twitter, that rust water, like they've been fracking in your neighborhood, so your tap water is a little bit rusty. Like,
yeah.
I kind of like the Pantone of that red.
So you're saying it's on brand.
It's a ruby red.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
So that's why I give it a 5. Middle of the road. But the gradient is just too much. Too many people have gradients right now.
I thought for sure Yellow Lotto was going to get your favorite gradient, but that is aside the point.
The dot matrix. You like the dot matrix on the Yellow Lotto? The Jumbo Vismo?
I'm pretty into it. I gotta say, more than the movie star, that's for sure. So this kit, like they hyped it up, and then they released the blue version, the sky version, where it was just the Sky logo replaced with the new logo. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I get it. It's a little in between thing. And they were hyping up this big kit release, and I'm just like, I was ready for the next new excited, because when the Sky kit originally came out, like, looking back at it, it doesn't look that great, but like at the time, that thing was like, oh man, that looks great.
Which
like
Sky
that
kit?
is the original Sky kit.
Okay, the original one, not the one that they wore earlier this year.
No, like the Rafa one. You know, like, anyway, it was designed. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like a bunch of logos slapped together over some kind of template background like most pro kits had been. And they really broke the mold. And I was ready for the new Sky 2.0 or whatever to do the same. And they were hyping this up so much that I was like, oh, it's going to be incredible. And then they put it out. And it was like they just went into the file and changed blue to red, and that was it. Like,
yeah.
I was just like deflated. You know what I mean? Like, I was more let down, less by how the kit looks, but then by just like that it was no different, really.
So here's my question: will we see a little bit of an advancement next season? So basically, they've given us 2 kits, because we understand why they had to use the Team Sky template for the Tour of Romandy to start, right? Because they couldn't
bridge,
because it started on the because it was like the bridge dates. But I'm hoping next season we get something a little bit better. But I like the red. Like, I think it's a good Pantone choice. Really brings out Chris Lawless's eyes.
Yeah, yeah. The red is not bad. We have noted these trends in the peloton over the years where, you know, like, everything's blue for a couple of years and then it shifts, and everything's white for a couple of years and then everything shifts and all the kits are black for a few years. And I feel like we're sort of in that blue zone right now. Like, we've come out of black, everyone's kit was black, and then we went blue, and now they're maybe trying to be the standard bearer and change it to red, where let's be honest here, brutally honest, Cofidis has been the whole time.
Yeah. Well, they sprinkle in a little bit of white every now and then, right?
Yeah, they've kind of watered it down a bit, which is unfortunate. But you know, well, the Sky again, or new Sky 2.0 didn't quite have it to go full Cofidis, which I'm disappointed by. I think the kit looks fine.
That's why it's a 5,
I don't know,
in my opinion. But Spencer, how awesome would it be if they would have just unveiled something that was just like, let's imagine AG2R didn't exist or something, and then they just unveil, like, all right, we're going fluorescent pink shorts, we're going all in, like, just crazy colors. That would be amazing if they did something like that. I would have so much more respect. Yeah,
if they just went totally off the grid and pulled a education first and just were like, yeah, our kits last year were cool, but check out these ones. They're totally different, you know?
That'd be pretty awesome. I have not seen what the Kwiatkowski kit's going to look like. That was the only other thing I could think of. Like, can a national champions kit be ruined, or could it be improved by just a logo change?
It could be ruined.
That logo is pretty bad.
Yeah, I hope that logo is awful.
So what? So I'll pick up a little bit on your point about how Cofidis has been with the red the whole time, and this goes back to what we've talked about many times with the Lamprey kit, right? How they just owned pink and purple for all those years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so who's going to be who's going to last the longest with the blue kit?
Well, it's going to be Quick Step. They've kind of been the bellwether of blue forever, but they've shifted. You know, they during the era of black kits, they definitely went to a majority black kit, but they kept kind of that blue in there. So it was easy enough to shift back. But
oh man, I just thought of a kit that we could have used instead of the foot on kit.
Oh no.
Yeah. Silence Predictor. Remember that one year?
Yeah.
They had like that salmon color kit.
The salmon wasn't great. Futon, I think, is still the worst kit of all time.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad one. So, Spencer, over the weekend, and over the last week, we kind of had this lull. Now, I've argued that this is when the Tour of California should really be on, rather than trying to steal the shine of the greatest Grand Tour of them all, the Giro, which starts this Saturday. We had Yorkshire, 2 days of women's racing. Marianne Vos taking the win, doing Marianne Vos things, right?
Yeah.
So awesome to see. The greatest living cyclist. Regardless of gender right now, I would say Marianne Vos is definitely in that conversation with only Eddie Merckx. So Marianne Vos doing great things. And then you had the men's Tour of Yorkshire, sorry. Chris Lawless taking the win for Team Sky. Raced in America for a little while with Hagens Bergman. So pretty cool to see. I don't know enough about him, but, great to see him. And then Tour de Romandy. Of those 3 races, did you watch any of them?
Of those 3, I watched none of those.
Because I watched a little bit of Romandy.
Okay. See, I'm taking my pre-Giro break. I know I've got a full 3 weeks where I need to pay total attention, and I don't want to burn out in the last week when the excitement is coming,
So really, we're depending on myself to carry the show here. Like normally we would rely on little guy to carry because we know that he would watch these races. I will say this. Let's just go into Romandy because I watched it. Primoz Roglic is looking pretty good.
He is looking pretty good. I did, read up on the results. I haven't watched any of it, but yeah.
I just want to put this out here. I watched a stage where it was like the day before, it was like Saturday, I believe. Day before the time trial to finish the Tour of Romandy.
Mm-hmm.
And Roglic, could have let, the folks go up the road to take the win and still kept the chance to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. He was stamping.
That's that ski jumper mentality where you can't you can't let anybody go up the road.
I mean, it was he looked good, and it was just I felt kind of bad because Michael Woods was did well in the overall. He was there, and then you also had Roy Costa. How awesome was I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool to see.
That was a name I was surprised to see up
there at the end.
Yeah.
But then you had Emmanuel Buchmann, right?
Yep.
Looking good. He stamped his approval, his authority on it, I would say. Now, a name blast from the past, Ilnur Zakarin was also there.
Yeah.
But the one I felt the most sorry for was Roglic's teammate, Kruijswijk.
Oh, yeah?
And I just feel so bad because he could have won the Giro if it wasn't for the snowbank. So here's a Grand Tour winner. I mean, he's not a winner because he didn't win it. But he's never going to be the team leader again. He
could have been, his title could have been Grand Tour champion.
Yeah.
But instead he ended up with the nickname the Snowman.
Exactly. And and what's so sad about it is that he could have been the Grand Tour champion. He was sure he was being put under pressure at that time, but I mean, it's kind of weird that you go from Grand Tour champion to now being a really, really good lieutenant for an unbeatable athlete, super athlete, Roglic.
Well, we'll talk about the Giro soon enough, but I don't know if unbeatable is the adjective I would use.
Hugh Carthy also looked good for Education First that day. Almost took the win. Kind of had a last-second attack. Woods kind of sat in, let him go. And I thought for a second Roglic was going to let that happen. But anyway, it was pretty good. And it was also good because 10th place or 11th place overall, just falling out of the top 10, Carlos Betancourt. Finished only 221 down. But Spencer, Betancourt's looking pretty good. So I was like, oh, Betancourt looking great. He's got to be on the Giro team, not even on the Giro team for Movistar. But maybe he's going to get the call to the big show in July.
I think he might. They Movistar's for all their team leaders,
They're deep.
not looking great for the Giro right now.
I disagree.
You've got injuries, you've got sicknesses, illnesses. Valverde's out.
They got Carapaz though. Like
I don't know. Like I think
won
he
some
needs
race over the weekend.
he needs some more seasoning. Would they need a Betancourt in that Giro lineup to be their team leader?
Oh well, but listen to this team that they got for the Giro. This actually isn't that bad of a team. They've got Landa, Amador, Carapaz, and then some helpers: Joshua Suderlin, JJ Rojas. But that's not that bad of a three-headed Hydra just to lead the team. I don't think they need Betancourt. But anyways, Landa is already assigned to UAE, right? Or sorry, Bahrain Merida. Like wasn't that already announced?
I have no idea.
There's a hot rumor that Landa is going to leave. And here he is going over that way because then the rumor of Bahrain Merida is that Nibali's going to Trek. We didn't even talk about that last week.
Yeah, that was a hot rumor that popped up.
I like that rumor. I love that rumor.
It makes perfect sense. I'm sure it makes Richie Port extremely happy.
Or Baque Molima.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the word from on high there on the Trek Segafredo team was, you guys need to focus on these one week stage races like the Tour of California because we know you can't handle it for 3 weeks, and we got a guy who can now. Oh
my God. Is Trek just becoming the really, really cool retirement home? It's like the MLS of pro cycling, right? Like you get bringing over Nibali after they brought over finger guns. I mean,
it's like bringing in a Wayne Rooney, to solidify your team and really give you some spark.
I love it. Like, I love everything about it. It's just kind of a pretty cool way. Like, all of a sudden you're like, we'll take Nibali. Anyway, but I wanted to circle back to the Betancourt thing. I don't know if professional cycling fans really truly understand the concept of the contract year. Because the last time we saw a really good contract year was Gilbert. Right. And I'm thinking, Betancourt is in a contract year, so he needs to get the contract for next year. And this is probably going to be one of his last contracts because he's getting a little bit older. So I kind of just think that this is peak Betancourt. Right. Yeah. He's 29. So he's racing for probably a 2 or 3 year contract, and then he'll be a little bit older. Because you'll be like in that 32, 33-year-old range, which at that point, you're off to the farm with Chris Horner. Like you're on whatever team is in the Tour of Azerbaijan. So
if you're not winning Grand Tours by that point, you're out to pasture for sure.
I'm just thinking that this is going to be one heck of a season for him.
You're saying we're going to be treated to the Gummy Bear show all year.
Oh yeah, like because he needs the contract, and he needs more than 1 year. He knows that. He's in peak form. This is it. So anyway, we got that. The rest of the racing, like I said, didn't watch too much. I know that domestically, where they were out at Tour de Gila, saw quite a few social media updates from friend of the pod, Abby Mickey, and Rally Racing.
She was having a great race. The team in general had a great race, taking a couple stages, and awesome stuff out there.
So overall, the other big thing to look forward to is the Tour of California. Now, you're trying to convince me last week that this is a race I should care about. I was just out in California. I saw the Gibraltar climb people talk a lot about. I don't even know if it's in the Tour of California map this year, but maybe I'll care a little bit more. It's just during the Giro, man. Like, I only have so much attention to pay attention to. So, Spencer, what do you got going into Tour of California coming up here? We're about a week and a half away, right? Because I think it starts like a week from tomorrow.
That sounds about right. I'm trying to do the math quick in my head, but either way, it's on the horizon. So the Tour of California this year, I don't know. This is the thing. The Giro d'Italia is great, but when you break it down, we only really need to pay attention to a handful of stages. Like most of them, you can just tune in for the last 10K or so and kind of, see for the breakaway sticks or watch the little climb to the end that was custom made for Valverde, who's not there. That kind of thing. And then you really tune in for the last week and really dissect it all. But the Tour California is short enough and interesting enough. And, it has now enough big heaters that go to it that it really is a pretty interesting race. I'm not going to try to sit here and tell you every stage and what you should watch and all this stuff, but like it's well done. It's exciting. It's really cool to see the amount of fans on the side of the road at a bike race in America, which is just still not a thing that I'm used to.
Have we figured out if it's losing so much like it's one of these like how much money is it losing, right? Like are we, I guess I haven't done the research to see how long the sponsors have signed up for. So if any of our listeners know this, I mean, well, am I going to get invested and then the race like ends 2 years from now when the Secretary of State ends funding like at Tour of Missouri or whatever? Remember that classic event?
So obviously Amgen would be their big longtime sponsor since day one. Doesn't seem like that's going anywhere. But the race is really solidifying itself in cycling lore at this time. Like you would be remiss to ignore it. I would not blame you, like I said last week, for writing it off completely after the first few clown shows of a race that they threw those first few years. But the last, the last 5, 6, 7 years, they've been quality stuff. And,
how about I watch it and I'll report back, right? So I'm willing to put in some time here, but can we just say if you're on the World Tour calendar, then all the World Tour teams need to be there? That bugs me. Not every team's there, but it's on the World Tour calendar. How's that even possible?
Well, they got to make room for the USA Cycling Composite team, Tim.
I don't think it's them making the room. I think it's some teams just don't want to come. And it's, I know this is the argument, but Formula One, if there's a Formula One race in Brazil, guess what? All of them are going to be there, including the Lotus team.
Which is little guy's favorite, as we all know. That's
all right.
I can't speak to that, but it's a great race. It usually is not too much to handle. Like you can sort of half pay attention and kind of know the 3 or 5 people that are in the hunt for the win. It's not overwhelming, but it is still exciting, good racing. And some of those climbs, man, they're just brutal.
Oh yeah. No, nothing but respect on that part. So, all right, I'll take a watch. Let's head into our pre-lap. When we come back, we got some viewer and former host emails, and we got a little bit of a Giro d'Italia preview. So yeah, let's get into it.
This is Abby Mickey from Rally UHC Professional Cycling Team, and you're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast.
All right, Spencer, this week on the Premium Lap, we're visited once again by a couple of our friends, but first wanted to give a quick shout out to all of the members and supporters of the Wide Angle Podium Network. Thank you for your support that helped make independent cycling podcasts and media happen. As a reminder, you can always go into the Wide Angle Podium Network and update your member support. So with the additions of the Gravel Lot and Roller Derby, you may want to consider, updating the shows that you support, because that goes directly to the shows that you listen. So once again, thanks to all the Wide Angle Podium members and subscribers.
Yes. This show is also supported, longtime support, from Health IQ. Health IQ is a life insurance company that celebrates the health conscious, including cyclists. You can visit them at healthiq.com/WAP to learn more and get a free quote. Or you can check out their life insurance FAQ page to get your questions answered about what they're all about, why they're doing what they do, and how they do it, advocating for health-conscious lifestyles to save money on life insurance. It's pretty cool stuff. They've got science and data to back it up. They can get you those lower rates for folks that are exercising 4 times a week, for cyclists that are riding 50 miles a week, for folks that are just taking care of themselves. And if you're listening to this show, you are probably within that realm. And I know a lot of folks out there have life insurance like through their company policy at work or something like that. But check it out, because there's a good chance that you can actually save. It's impressive. Anyway, healthiq.com/WAP. Do yourself a favor, check it out.
And we'd also like to thank Grimpeur Brothers for their continued support. Head on over to wideanglepodium.com/coffee to find out how you can take advantage of their subscription program. Grimpeur Brothers roasts the coffee, sends it out to you. 2 different blends in particular support the Wide Angle Podium Network. We have Hello Cyclocross Friends, which is going to be your espresso blend, really get you that pep in the morning. And then we'd also have the world famous Full Schleck light roast blend. Check it out. Head on over to wideanglepodium.com/coffee to find out more.
Yep. Light roast, because it's light enough to float up the Alpe d'Huez, dancing on the pedals, and you'll do the same every morning.
And just calm them enough that you won't have a stomach full of anger.
Yeah.
And with that, let's get back to the show.
My name is Matthew Vanderpool, and I don't listen to the Slow Ride podcast.
All right, Spencer. So always want to remind our listeners to head on over to iTunes, give us a rating and a review. We'd love to read it on the air. We also love getting emails at the Slow Ride Podcast at gmail.com. New one came in fresh last night. Longtime co-host, first-time emailer. The previous comment was a text. Today, I saw Canyon double-decker bars in real life. So that's real. Later. And that, of course, comes from a good friend of ours, Matt, the little guy, Alan, who must have been on the Greenway. So still giving us a Greenway story. And he saw the Canyon double-decker bars. Now, in classic little guy fashion, he failed to let us know how many devices were on the bars. Because I am still of the theory that these double-decker bars are made explicitly to hold as many Garmin watches as possible. In fact, these were made for that DC Rainmaker individual who does all of the reviews of technology that we all read. Great site. Probably the most thorough reviews of digital equipment, of heart rate monitors, of everything. The Canyon double-decker bars are made for him, because then he can really see what's accurate data collection.
Yeah. I am just shell-shocked over here that those were
not a April 1st joke.
Right. Like, sure, you'll see him, like, maybe the guy who has to test him for Bicycling Magazine or whatever is out riding on the trails with him. But, he's surely picking a time of day when no one is going to see him out there, him or her out riding these double-decker bars. But for someone to have purchased them and to be riding around town just willy-nilly, it's impressive. Like, I don't know how I would react to that.
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, I can't blame little guy for not whipping out the old cell phone and grabbing a Area 54 style photograph, grainy photo of these double-decker bars.
Like, was that Sasquatch? No, it's just the double-decker Canyon bars. I think the pixels are a little. Take it. I don't know how I would react if I saw someone have them. I think if I saw someone with those bars, I would naturally go talk to them about it.
Yeah.
And then I would go see if they removed the sticker that's on the upper unit of the duplex to see if they removed the sticker that said, like, don't put your hands here.
Right.
So anyway, thanks for the email. I hope to hear from Little Guy on his picks for the Giro coming up on Roller Derby as well. But we got another one. eBay Corner. This one comes in from Donald Carpenter. Now, I actually clicked this link and the seller has removed it. So one can only assume that it was sold. But I did see this bike before I read it last week. So it says it's in Columbus, Ohio. And it says, new cyclocross gravel road bike. And then Donald's comments were, this is a gem, men or ladies, with grip shift. And I remember clicking on this. It was pretty, I think it was either like a Pacific or a Novara. So maybe like half a step up, hybrid flat bar bike. That whoever wrote the Craigslist ad put new cyclocross gravel road bike on it.
Right. So they'd been listening to the podcast, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think so. And it's removed, so clearly it's been sold. So
yeah,
I wish we had the full like description that. But Donald, thank you so much for participating. A couple more questions here. Douglas Sniper, longtime listener of the podcast, supporter of the network. Hey guys, after listening to the latest episode, this is a couple episodes ago, I feel that I truly understand the place for e-bikes and cycling. However, I can't help but wonder if we are setting ourselves up for something that will bring the end of days. The e-pedal pub.
Oh
now,
my God.
We have talked about pedal pubs quite a few times and how they are a travesty. Like I will not wave at people riding a pedal pub. Like that is where I draw the line.
Mm-hmm.
Now you would say, do you draw the line at someone riding, multiple people on a bike? No, I'd wave at, someone that has a bike that has 3 or 4 seats on it. It's just the imbibing of the pedal pub when they're facing inwards and the hooting and hollering. Just go on your way, man. Just have a good time. You don't need to say, look at me, I'm on a pedal pub. So, Spencer, an e-bike pedal pub.
I mean, here's the thing. Whenever I see a pedal pub, and if listeners don't know what this is, it's basically a bar on wheels with 8 stools around it in an oval, and
a driver.
all the stools have
a driver too.
Have a drivetrain underneath, and everyone is pedaling a Lance Armstrong-esque gear, like just keeping their cadence at like 120, and they're enjoying their cold taps as they cruise along, screwing up traffic and just ruining the atmosphere of neighborhoods as they go. I can't wrap my head around how these things work, like engineering wise. Like, how do you connect 8 separate drivetrains together to turn a wheel or 2 wheels that that propel this thing forward? I have a theory that none of these bar stools actually do anything at all.
So it's already
to propel the bike. Yeah. So there's a conspiracy here already, and the driver of the pedal pub is really the one doing all of the work. And so in that regard, I think the pedal pub might make some sense, but you'd take away this great training program for the future Grand Tour contenders who are, cruising along town with pressing 9 body weights worth of people around and just getting the work out of their life.
The training for the driver. I'm thinking the training for someone that's trying out for the Canyon Zwift team, because they're keeping their cadence at 120. Now, in Minneapolis, I remember when we saw these things when they first came out, I never even thought they were cool then, because they go like 6 miles an hour. And
they're in the way.
I'm all about blocking the road. But this thing really blocks the road. And then last summer, remember how the guy or the driver, I don't know, took the turn a little bit too fast and dumped it, and the whole thing went sideways. Yeah. So the pedal pub, e-bike pedal pub, kind of a scary thought.
For all the grief cyclists get for not wearing helmets, No one in the pedal pub's ever wearing a helmet, and they're drinking beer at the same time.
Got an email here from Philip Lavoie. Whoa, what? I'm moving to Minneapolis in a couple weeks for work. Never been. Any ideas on what to do, see, ride, or race? Heck, any tips, shops, etc. would be more than I know. Be good, and much love from Phil. Now, Phil was down here in Disney World. I was unable to go down and do a monorail ride with Phil and his family. But Spencer, for someone,
we've got tips.
For someone moving to Minneapolis right around now, doesn't even have a place to live. Tip number 1 from me: live in Minneapolis. Don't live in St. Paul. If you're really into bikes, live in Minneapolis. Biking in St. Paul is an embarrassment. It's amazing how crossing a river can set you back 25 years in bicycle infrastructure. That's number 1.
Yeah. So piggybacking off of that, I would say live near the river if you can, because so many good routes and rides coming off of the Mississippi there. So if you can pull off a South Minneapolis near the river somewhere, you're going to be good to go for cross loops and for road rides, and even dipping into St. Paul for some good, hilly road rides. Yeah.
So St. Paul's good to go through on bike. So don't underestimate ever, Phil, the ability of a good ride in the East Metro. Second tip. I guess I don't really have a second tip. You don't need a call.
Okay. Here's my second tip.
Yeah.
I'll set you off. Angry Catfish.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is my recommendation. Angry Catfish is a bike shop in South Minneapolis. In the neighborhood, you should probably be looking for a living. Great bike shop, quality work coming out of there, but also a great coffee shop and great place to meet some folks in town who are riding, who are into the culture. It's an easy place to start building a community if you had never been there.
I'll see where you're going. I'll raise you. I've got 2. If we're going shop tips, also one-on-one bike shop. One of the originals of the coffee bar. They just moved to South Minneapolis off of Minnehaha. So go check out Gino and Jen at One-on-One. Lots of history there. The first ever art crank. Lots of cool things. Number 2, if you're up in Northeast Minneapolis, you got to go see Chuck at Behind Bars. When you go in, you might want to wear your helmet. Don't let them know that we sent you in there. You'd be a little, you got to do some dodging, some verbal hand grenades maybe thrown at you. But always go check out Behind Bars as well. Coffee-wise, Angry Catfish can't go wrong. Spencer's also a huge fan of Dunn Brothers.
No.
Okay,
a local chain there. Fine for starting your ride from, not fine for quality coffee.
Let's piggyback this a little bit. One of the sad news this weekend, but not at all surprising, was that the Nature Valley Grand Prix was canceled for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, so if you're moving to Minneapolis, that is a thing you do not have to look forward to any longer, is pro bike racing in the state of Minnesota. North Star Grand Prix calling it quits a solid month before the race was scheduled to start yet again.
Not the first time this has happened.
Not the first time. It's disappointing, but not completely surprising. They announced they were coming back this year, and I was cautiously optimistic, and it turned out not to be true, which is unfortunate, because that race really was a cornerstone of the scene there for a while, and it will be missed.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely going to miss that race because of all the Uptown crit, Stillwater crit. But let's get to the racing that is going to matter. We do got to do a little bit of a Giro d'Italia preview, Spencer. Mm-hmm. We got listeners going around. We'll be over on Roller Derby. We'll be betting on a lot of these. But heading into the Giro right now, I'm gonna throw out here there's 4 people to really pay attention to. You may think that there's another 5th or 6th, but I think the favorite clearly has got to be Primo Roglic. After what he did at Rome Indy, amazing time trial skills. So you got Roglic. Strong team behind him as well, right? So there's Roglic. Up next, you have so you got Roglic, then you got Tom Dumoulin.
Yeah.
So
I would say so.
Probably a second favorite, or maybe a 1B favorite. And then you got one of the Yates brothers. Simon is what the start list is saying, but I don't know if he's the good
Could be
Yates
either
or
one,
not.
really.
Yeah. He's got to be up there, and then Nibali, obviously.
Okay.
Like, I mean, Nibali's in his home country. Is there anybody else I'm missing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's a few names you could throw in there, but I don't know that they are realistic. Ilnur Zakarin could be one you might throw in there.
Maybe
Stephen
Landa.
Kreiswick you could maybe throw in there, but
Kreiswick's not on the start list.
It's not?
No.
Oh. Well, anyway, the four that you named, I think, are the main players in this year's Giro, although I will say Tom Dumoulin is far away the favorite over Roglic.
Nope.
Despite Roglic's domination of the Romandie this week, that's a little he's in form a little too early, if you ask me.
A little too early. Sure. I just think that we could be wrong. Like, obviously in roller derby, there could be a classic run on the other aspect. The Giro could have one of these, like mountain goat racers that kind of gets off in the front, pulls a Vogler and actually can stick it all the way to the end. But I do think Roglic just looks too good over Dumoulin. I understand Dumoulin, but I think Dumoulin probably should have just ponied up and went all in on the Tour. I think these couple of years of just doing the Giro, after the incident, after the number 2 incident, we're still maybe giving him a little bit too much credit. I don't know. I just a little
maybe
has the ship sailed. I know he got second at the Tour last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he also got second at the Giro.
Yeah, that's
He's
pretty
good. It's pretty.
I don't know.
That might be a favorite right there. I might have just talked myself into Dumoulin being a little bit favorite. Okay, it's gonna be good, but it's gonna be between those two, really.
Okay.
So
I was wondering where you're going with that logic, and you got to a good place, I think.
Yeah.
Who I'm interested to watch is Nibali. I think, with the rumors swirling around him about his team next year, does he get the full support? Does he get what he needs? Because he can win this race. He's obviously got the form. He's got the pedigree. He's got, the knowledge of these stages and how to do a Grand Tour, obviously very well. But we just haven't seen a lot from him.
No, but let's not forget he's on an Italian team, right? I mean, this is Liquigas, which eventually became Bahrain Merida. So his team is pretty much all Italians. So I think he's going to get the support. And he also has a little helper, Domenico Pozzovivo. And it's going to be so great. Little 1-2 action. So I'm pretty excited for his chances. Maybe. Yeah,
he's I would say I would call him a slow ride guarantee podium.
Oh.
But I don't know where he'll be on that podium.
Do you, on Twitter, there's a really good Twitter account that came out of nowhere. I don't even know who runs it, but I have nothing but respect for this person. It's Cycling Out of Context. Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They had a GIF the other day of Nibali on like one of those Ninja Warrior programs. Like when he's like, when he's staring down at like, it was basically where you hit a trampoline and it propels you in the air and you have to like hold on to the rings or whatever to cross like a water crossing.
Grab the bar and
which you already know is like, okay, he's going to get some good height on this trampoline, right? So Nibali runs, gets on trampoline. You're like, oh man, he's going to get so much height. His legs, I mean, they're just amazing. You're a little worried about the upper body strength though. And he doesn't even get close to the rings. Like just totally mistimes the trampoline and just straight into the water. But
so his ninja run lasted 2 seconds or so.
Well, I got to go back and like actually find the footage of him doing the ninja run because this is just a GIF. So he might have actually be at like the second or third stage of the obstacle course. Because I think it shows that he's like a minute in, but the GIF is just of his fail. But anyways, check out Cycling Out of Content text because there's been some really good things that have been on there lately. So,
all right.
Anyways, so the Giro's coming up. We're pretty stoked. There's those big four. Stage 16 naturally looks really good at the end. Roller Derby's got a lot of great propositions lined up for the Giro. Of course,
so many.
the will there be a dog or livestock related crash at the Giro. Spencer, this is kind of a classic one for us because you always think that there's and right now that the favorite is no. It's a pretty big risky, like actually it's 2-1 odds for the yes. So the binary ones, you got kind of a 50-50 shot. But Spencer, there's a couple I want to talk about. I think that are perfect slow ride props that we need to talk a little bit about here. Will second place finish within a minute of the leader of the Giro d'Italia? So I'm
going to go with yes on this one personally.
This is a very interesting one to me.
It is.
Now, what's not interesting though is that the odds have shortened considerably on this one. So like we need to see a little bit more. So
yeah, we got to get more action.
They got to get a little bit more action because while I think that there's a very good chance that it does happen, I'm kind of like, ooh, I'll take the no because like there's a lot more time variance than a 60-second.
Yeah,
all it takes is one flat tire.
It's true, and with all this is a time trial heavy course. So I don't know what that means.
There's 3 time trials.
Like
how many will Dumoulin win? That's another.
Well, that's the thing. How many will Roglic win? Like, will they win will they be nail biters or will they just destroy each other? Like, that is what's going to separate this, I think, between the very top end of the race. And I have a feeling they're going to be very tight. Like, I'm still not going to watch them. But like I think as far as time trials go, they might be exciting, And
then another favorite, probably the dirtiest of them all. Will there be a doping violation at the Giro d'Italia? I feel like we're kind of due. It's been a little while since we've had some good drama before the start of a race or at the race.
Yeah, it's true, but I think that's for a reason. The marketing department has figured out that this is not a good look for the race, so they're going to keep it out this year.
But here's the thing. Of all of the countries that seem to be taking, well, I guess France kind of takes it serious, but I'm just throwing the shade at the Vuelta, right? Like of all the Grand Tours, which one is going to have the positive? And you're like, well, it's probably going to be the one that tests and is the most stringent and just goes into riders' hotel rooms, right? Like, 'cause that's what it's going to take. So it'd probably be Coney and the folks over there at the Italian Anti-Doping Administration. They really like to go after and dig up old histories.
That is true.
Like Valverde. Oh, man. What they did to him. So bad. Anyway. What else you got for me, Spencer?
Not much left on my list here of agenda items that we needed to get to.
I've got 2.
Okay.
So the first one is UCI mountain bike social media.
Oh,
really doing a lot to live up the Matthew Van Der Poel connection now. Like there's a lot of like, hey, cross country starts in 2 weeks at Albstadt, Germany, and you can tell. And then it's a picture of Matthew Van Der Poel. So maybe the UCI social media team is starting to realize that, we should really just go all in on this guy. Can he beat Nino? Right there. That's the seasonal story. So we've got...
Yeah, Nino's got to be so pissed right now.
almost 4 straight weeks of UCI mountain biking coming up starting on May 18th. So we're still like 2 weeks out from it. But then we got Albstadt, Nova Mesto, and then you've got 2 downhills in a row at Fort William and Leogang. So that's going to be 4 straight weekends I'll be watching Red Bull TV. So pretty cool. Second one, a little bit sadder, but we need to get to it because for us, very important. A good friend of ours and individual, Jeremy Wurst of Minneapolis, passed away over the last week. Jeremy meant a lot to the Minneapolis biking community for creating the Minneapolis Bike Love website and pretty much kind of pushed it over the precipice to become a league, like a force to be reckoned with, the bike lobby. And that's why I think Minneapolis is so far ahead of St. Paul and other ways of really getting bike infrastructure and making the city a better place. And we lost Jeremy this past week.
Yeah, no, it's true. He probably did more than any other one person to build up a community there. Like there were tons of cyclists and like people doing things like we had the Rogue Trail Builders who kind of created Theodore Worth and some of the trails over there that are super fun to ride in the city. We had the bike messengers, we had the super commuters, we had all these factions. And Jeremy built a community to bring all of us together and really create a force to be reckoned with, and really made Minneapolis, I think, our community, our culture, what it is. And really, really sad news out of Minneapolis with his passing.
Yeah, super. And with that, I don't think there's really anything else we can do to top what Jeremy did to the Minneapolis bike scene, and then also to cycling as a whole. So I'd like to thank all of the listeners and supporters of the Wide Angle Podium Network. I'd like to thank Health IQ. Head on over to healthiq.com/WAP and head on over to wideanglepodium.com/coffee to find out how to secure your own bag of Grimpeur Brothers coffee.
We'd like to thank BK1 of Rhymesayers Entertainment for the intro and outro music that we use every week here on the podcast.
This is Tim in Orlando, Florida.
And this is Spencer in Boston, Massachusetts, reminding you to always wave at all your fellow cyclists that you see out on the road.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.